schools and libraries and schools.
My name is Boots Riley. Community pickets and blockades will be set up at the ports on the 12th, and they are being organized by Occupy San Diego, Occupy LA, Occupy Oakland, Occupy Portland, Occupy Tacoma, Occupy Seattle, Occupy Vancouver, Canada, and Occupy Houston. There is also in the Port of Waimimi is also being shut down, which is a deep river port. Occupy Denver and Occupy Wall Street are also targeting Goldman Sachs and Walmart on the 12th. This action lends support to port truck drivers and longshore workers who have been under attack by the 1%. In this case, SSA, which is controlled by Goldman Sachs, and EGT, which is a subsidiary of international grain cartel Bunge Limited. EGT is busting unions in the U.S. and contributing to the economic crisis and exploitation around the world, while SSA is preventing workers from joining a union, paying immigrant truck drivers in Oakland as little as $30 a day. This is to rebuke the 1%. The 1% has been responsible for the despair of our lives for too long, and now our schools, libraries, and parks are being closed. People cannot get their basic needs met while labor is exploited for wealth of corporations. The 12th is also a direct response to the 1% who control our governments, police, and economy, and recently coordinated national brutal attacks against the Occupy movement. For decades, corporations have waged a one-sided class war against workers with the assistance of politicians in both parties, both enabled by union bureaucracy and steady corporate line from the media. The Occupy movement is attempting to make this not only a struggle that has two sides, but one that puts workers on the offensive. By shutting down the port, we shut down their profits. From Argentina to Egypt, we have seen the power that occupations of points of profits and public space have been creating radical social change. On November 2nd, Oakland shut down the port to give the 1% a small taste of the economic pain they have brought on us for years. On December 12th, the whole West Coast is up in the ante, and if police try to repress any of our actions, the occupies in the other locations will continue the blockade. Our power is built through expanding our movement, through solidarity and collective struggle. The 12th will be a historic day.
Hold on 1 second for the train, and then just the last phrase about the historic day.
Okay. Our power is built through expanding our movement, through solidarity and collective struggle. The 12th will be a historic day in our effort to get rid of the 1% and create a free and just world. Shut down Wall Street on the waterfront. See you on the ports.
Good morning. My name is Betty Olson-Jones, Betty Olson-Jones, and I'm the president of the Oakland Education Association, representing 2,600 teachers and other education support personnel. Today I'm speaking on behalf of the OEA Representative Council to reiterate our union's support for the 90+% of Oaklanders, predominantly working people, who are seeing their standard of living decline due to the cutbacks in both the public and private sector economies of this city, state, and nation. Our union voted on Monday, December 5th, to endorse next week's blockade of the Port of Oakland. The following motion passed overwhelmingly. Quote, I move that the OEA will endorse the Oakland Port shutdown mobilization on December 12th in solidarity with the Occupy movement, the Teamsters and drivers at the Port of Oakland, and the ILWU, especially the local in the Bay Area and Local 21 in Longview, Washington, which is under attack. We shall encourage our members to participate outside of regular work hours, end quote. Why did we take this forthright position? From the beginning of the Occupy movement, members of OEA have participated in Occupy Oakland events, general assemblies, and committees with a message of solidarity and unity. We helped pay for sanitation at City Hall, and many of our members and retirees have been participants in Occupy demonstrations on behalf of the public school teachers and students of Oakland. Hundreds of teachers left their classrooms on November 2nd to march in solidarity with thousands of other members of the 99%. Now we're urging our members and the greater East Bay community to help defend the Longshore and Warehouse Union in Longview, Washington from union busting. We are asking our members to support port truck drivers who are denied the rights and benefits of regular employees by being classified as independent contractors, although some drive company trucks must follow company rules and work on company schedules. For almost a decade, the OEA has called on the Port of Oakland to work with the city and the school district to supplement the meager state and federal financing of our community's public service and education sectors. We have participated in community pickets at the port to draw attention to the link between war abroad and austerity at home. We have advocated that the port and its commissioners raise revenue from its strategic air and sea locations by taxing airlines such as Southwest, delivery services such as FedEx and UPS, as well as shippers such as Matson to provide sorely needed resources to our public schools, hospitals, libraries, fire stations, and urban infrastructure. Our pleas have fallen on deaf ears. Just want to read a little bit of facts about Oakland, which is not a poor city. American President Line, APL, is based in Oakland, the 5th largest shipping company in the world. These figures are a few years old, so it's probably higher. Private maritime businesses in the Port of Oakland, using rent-free public lands, generate at least $27 billion annually in trade. 1% of $27 billion is equal to $270 million, enough to pay off the Oakland school debt, restore full city library services, and rehire every laid-off city worker. 2% would bring in $540 million, enough to do all of that, reduce class size, and preserve all Alameda County medical facilities. This needs to change. Oakland is not a poor city, and the wealth of the 1% can assist in leveling the playing field for all of our children, young adults, and the 99%. I want to leave with one story. I was at a school yesterday and I was visiting with teachers. 2 of them are special education teachers. They told me that the district could not find people to come in and assist them in their classrooms with diapering special education students. What were the 2 reasons that 2 of the interviewees gave? One said, I can earn more flipping burgers at McDonald's. The other said, I earn more on unemployment. That is shameful. This needs to change. We are here fully in support of this action on December 12th. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Clarence Thomas. I'm a 3rd-generation longshoreman. I'm a member of the International Longshore and Warehouse Union Local 10. I am not here speaking for Local 10. I am the national co-chair of the Million Worker March movement, which has endorsed and supported the Occupy movement. I'm here today speaking as the co-chair of the Million Worker March movement, and I would just like to take just a moment to frame my remarks by quoting from Harry Bridges. Something special happened in the spring and summer of 1934. Maritime workers who had been considered little more than ignorant roustabouts took history into their own hands. They built a powerful new movement from the ground up, waged a complex and bitter strike along the length of the Pacific seaboard, and conducted the only successful general strike in the country's history. They proved that they could win and win big. Their success stimulated hundreds of thousands of other workers to organize. In the long run, they raised the standard of living of nearly every man, woman, and child on the coast, and created working conditions which became the envy of millions of workers in the rest of the nation. One of the real contradictions that took place in 1934 during that great strike was that black people, by and large, were prevented from working on the waterfront. The only time we really had a chance to work on that waterfront were as scabs. Harry Bridges and other militants of the left of the Longshore Union realized that they could not win that struggle without the support of the black community. And what Bridges did was to go to black churches and make an appeal to the black community to stop crossing the picket line and to join it. And in exchange for that, blacks would be included in the ILWU, which is one of the reasons why I'm standing in front of you today. Now, the moral of that story is this. Longshoremen understand the importance of community picket lines. And I want to remind longshoremen how different our history would be if the black community had not honored that picket line. That was a very important moment in our history. Many of you have heard about the position of the International regarding this action. They are not supporting it. Neither is my local. We have a Democratic union and we haven't had a chance to actually take a vote on this matter. But I want to remind everyone here that the ILWU locals have autonomy, which means that we have the ability to speak out, even if it means that we differ from our leadership. This is not the first time that there has been a difference of opinion between the rank and file and the leadership. In 1977, at Pier 27 in San Francisco, on an Easter Sunday, there was a community picket line of thousands of people who came out to oppose a ship from South Africa carrying South African cargo. The longshoremen did not cross that picket line. That set into motion a rigorous opposition of apartheid, leading to longshoremen in ILWU Local 10 refusing to unload cargo from South Africa for 11 days in 1984. One of the most sparkling and daring achievements of the labor movement in the modern era. It made such an impact that when Nelson Mandela came to the Bay Area, he acknowledged the ILWU. But I just want to remind you, when we took that action, that was an independent rank and file action not supported by our international. But in subsequent years, our international president got on board and was one of many labor notables who got arrested in front of the South African consulate. I want to remind every longshoreman who is within an earshot of my voice, if we go through community picket lines, then how do we expect to get the support of the community? Because in 2014, we will be negotiating our contract. We have always had the community's support. And I just want to leave people with this. The American working class is in a state of emergency. This is the reason for the actions being taken in Washington, D.C., led by such labor leaders as Mary Kay Henry from SEIU. We are in a state of emergency for the working class. American workers are living lives of quiet desperation. We believe that the sanctity of the contract must be subordinate to the overriding concerns of the community. The only time that working people in this country receive any kind of concession is when we do something that costs the bosses money. That was the reason why the ILWU was able to win that strike in 1934. We were the ILA then. It was because people understood the importance of workers having the right to a hiring hall and collective bargaining. I'm going to wind up with this. Historically, the ILWU has been on the cutting edge of many social movements. And it is for that reason that now that the Occupy Oakland and the Occupy movement is coming to the defense of the ILWU. Thank you.
My name is Mike King. I'm with Occupy Oakland. In an unprecedented action up and down the coast, with solidarity actions taking place all over the country, on December 12th, we will bring the fight back to the 1%, where they make a great deal of profit at the expense of the 99%. We are part of a global movement that seeks to take control over our lives. In shutting down the port, we act in solidarity, not only with trade unionists under attack, but with the 89% of the working class that does not belong to a union, as well as the unemployed, the underemployed, students, and retirees. We are calling on port workers and all workers to stand with the 99% for this historic action on Monday. While we are exploited by the 1% in our workplaces, our schools and libraries are shutting down. We have little or no access to health care, and scarce public resources are directed away from the 99% and handed to the 1%. People of the West Coast are going to use mass action to wrest power away from the 1%. The 1% are, and always have been, organized, and they promote their own best interests. The occupation movement is also organized, and we have built our collective power to confront not just economic inequality, but all forms of inequality. We are saying that we have had enough of economic violence imparted on our communities by the 1%. Our actions on the port, in the streets, and in the communities, working with families to take back their foreclosed homes, as well as with communities facing police brutality, illustrate that our power comes from standing by each other. Standing together, the 99% and the occupation movement has accomplished what only 3 months ago no one would have considered possible. On November 2nd, the eyes of the world were on Oakland when tens of thousands shut down the port. The occupation movement is an inspiration to people around the world. We will make history again on December 12th. With non-union workers, rank-and-file unionists, retirees and children, teachers and students, and the unemployed, the port shutdown is bringing the fight back to the 1%. This is what we are doing on December 12th, and this is what we will continue to do. There will be a rally at 5:30 and a march from the West Oakland BART on Monday morning, December 12th. At 3 p.m., there will be a rally at Oscar Grant Plaza, and at 4 and at 5 p.m. from Oscar Grant Plaza, there will be marches to the ports. Thank you.
My name is Jenna Walashin. I'm a rank and file member of Teamsters Local 70. I'm a UPS driver. I'm in favor of the port shutdown for all the reasons that have been explained already, but what I want to emphasize right now is how this affects the Teamsters. And the original call for an action on December 12th actually was just going to be in LA because some drivers came to work in Teamsters t-shirts and they were fired, illegally fired. And Occupy Oakland took that call and called for it to be expanded to the whole of the West Coast to highlight the issues of both the ILWU and the port truckers. And these port truck drivers are exploited beyond belief, and they are misclassified as independent contractors, and when they are then prevented from organizing under the antitrust laws. These are laws that were meant to keep in check large corporations from cooperating to exploit people, consumers and workers. And so these drivers, they have to maintain their own trucks. They have to fuel their own trucks. They're not eligible for health care. They don't get any workers' comp. So if they're injured, that's their own money, that's their own time. And and this actually affects me and my industry because the independent contractor law actually also somehow applies to FedEx ground drivers, and they are also misclassified, and that undercuts the effectiveness of my union and my industry. So the ports are the target for Monday, but this is actually a coast-to-coast issue, and the Occupy movement is in its beginning stages, and the Port Commission, they took out a one-page ad to tell everybody, oh, this is bad, don't support this, and they did that because they're scared. And this port action, it's part of the beginning, and when the 1% is scared, that's when we need to have confidence.
Kimberly Rojas, and I'm the Oakland branch president of the National Postal Mail Handlers Union here in Oakland. I represent 465 mail handlers in Oakland at the 7th Street plant. And our National Postal Mail Handlers Union has made a resolution to support Occupy nationally. Here in Oakland, we have not yet met, so we have not been able to pass that resolution or a resolution to support this action. But I stand here, and many of my rank and file are in support of this action on December 12th to close down the blockade and also to Wall Street on the waterfront. We understand that this is where the economic base is and that you have to come out and help workers at any time. The postal union right now is under attack by not only Congress, but by the 1% that want to privatize the postal service. There's a bill in Congress that is H.R. 2039 that is actively trying to take away the postal union's collective right to bargain. And that definitely makes us part of what is going on here with all the other unions that are under attack. And we're standing up with them in solidarity and all workers that are unorganized. We have a great workforce that they're trying to bring into the post office that is not allowing them to have the same rights in retirement. And they upped it to 40% in one of my sister's unions in their last contract, which then, makes it hard for us that are under right now. We're trying to bargain our contract not to get the same, and they're called casual workers, and they work as hard as us and have as many long hours and labor work, and we believe they deserve the rights of retirement and health care. I ask that all my rank and file come out. We've been out here on many. We were out here on November 2nd, and I'm sure that my rank and file will be out there again, and I hope that everybody comes out on December 12th.
Everybody, my name is Eddie Falcone, and I am an Iraq and Afghanistan veteran. I am also a member of Iraq Veterans Against the War. Against the War calls for the end to the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, as well as standing up for the self-determination of Arab and Muslim people and full rights for returning veterans. Today I would like to talk to you about Iraq Veterans Against the War, and we stand in solidarity with the port shutdown that's going to happen on December 12th with the ILWU, because we see the port as a site of working class struggle and an event that will symbolically call for the ends to the Iraq and Afghanistan war. And the ILWU has had a history of waging struggle to promote the ends and call for the cease of the war effort. For example, they have been standing up against the war since Vietnam. They have took a stance against the Israeli apartheid of Palestine, and in 2008 they had called for a whole West Coast port shutdown and against the Iraq and Afghanistan war. And once again we are asking for a total West Coast shutdown of the ports with ILWU to call for the ends of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and as well as the U.S. War effort spreading into places, other Arab and Muslim countries, like supporting the Kenyan invasion of southern Somalia. And so that's why we are here today to call for the end to these wars and to shut down the ports. And today I would like to read a statement from injured Iraq war veteran Scott Olson to the longshoremen. Note that Scott Olson was critically injured on November 25th when police brutally attacked the Occupy Oakland camp at 14th and Broadway in downtown Oakland. He was hit in the head by a police projectile while he was standing up for the 99% and protesting the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Here is his statement. You do the work. They, the global maritime bosses, profit at your expense. Your safety and jobs are always at stake. Our Longview longshore brothers and sisters are under the gun for all of us. That's why Occupy Oakland is calling for a port shutdown on December 12th. The bosses have been getting away with it for far too long. We can beat them, but we have to work together. Unions, ranks, file workers, and Occupy. I was on my second pump to Iraq when ILWU, when you, led by your Vietnam vets, shut down the West Coast ports on May Day 2008 to stop the war. The best support I could have asked for in Iraq was from you brothers and sisters who wanted us home, alive and well, sooner, not later. I spent 2 pumps in Iraq looking for our enemies. Only after coming back home did I discover our greatest enemy. That is the enemy we are fighting now. And I think he's referring to the 1%. Please honor our Occupy picket lines. United we are stronger. As you and your union say, an injury to one is an injury to us all. The only ones who will tell you otherwise are those that want to continue profiting off your backs. You all work at a hard and dangerous job. You deserve to see something out of that. Scott Olson says that he plans on standing tall again on December 12th and looks forward to standing with the longshoremen. Please do the labor movement proud like you've done before and honor the community picket line. Scott Olson, December 7th, 2011.
My name is Steve Zeltzer. I'm with the Committee to Defend the ILWU. We are in support of the action on December the 12th, and we believe that the attack on the Occupy movement by Oakland Mayor Kwan and mayors all over the country is an outrage. They don't have any money for education. The cities say they don't have any money for education, they don't have any money for housing, they don't have any money for health care, they don't have any money for social services, but they've got money for police and the militarization of the police forces in the cities. And the Port of Oakland Board of Directors are spending tens of thousands of dollars for newspaper ads. Newspaper ads, not only in the Oakland Tribune and the San Francisco Chronicle, but the New York Times, saying we've got to keep the port open. Now, I would ask, why is the Port of Oakland board, which says they have to protect the people of Oakland, putting articles and newspaper ads in the New York Times saying keep this port open? Who are they representing? Are they representing the people of Oakland? We believe that the Port of Oakland and these ports need to contribute to the people of this country. They need to the people of the schools, the students, and the people that need health care services. This is where the profits are being made, right here in Oakland, on the port, in the Seattle and Los Angeles. What we are saying and what we support is a fight back against union busting. The Walmart and these corporations who are behind the union busting, they want slave labor. They want cheap labor, and they prevent workers from joining unions. 12 to 15,000 workers are fired every year who try to join unions. That's who these corporations represent. They represent the union busters. We are supporting the workers at Longview, Washington. There's going to be a caravan from the Bay Area to Longview, Washington when the first ship comes in to bring in scab cargo. And we're going to be organizing in Northern California and throughout the state to get support for them. But this struggle in Longview is not just in Longview, it's in every city, every community of this country. People's survival is at stake. This is a state of emergency for working people in this country. They say they don't have any money in the cities. They say the cities are broke, but these corporations have $2.5 trillion in their bank accounts. We don't want to spend it. What are they waiting for? The people of this country are hungry. They need jobs. Yet, this government now says we're going to go to Australia. We have troops to expand the wars abroad. Our priorities are twisted in this country. We have to bring the troops home. We have to spend the money in this country on the people who need it, who desperately need it. People are dying on the streets in Oakland from lack of health care. People can't get jobs, they're losing their homes, and they say they have no money. We are saying the money is here, it's at the Port of Oakland, it's in this country, and we're going to get it. And you get it by uniting and standing up. All working people have to stand up together and say no traffic on December 12th. We are in solidarity with the working people, with the longshoremen in Longview, and working people all over this country and around the world who are standing up against these multinationals. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Bob Mandel. I'm also with the OEA. I'm here to talk about concretes about port money. I was an adult ed teacher in Oakland until June. In June, that program with 25,000 students got shut down. That program serves immigrant workers trying to learn English. That program serves high school dropouts, often young women who got pregnant, who are coming back for a second chance. It has been shut down. The port does over $30 billion of business a year. Not a penny goes to the schools. Not a penny goes to Highland Hospital, where people have to wait 12 hours to see a doctor because they're so badly understaffed. The port claims it cannot give money to schools or social services. But when Jerry Brown, then mayor, founded his charter school, the Military Academy of Oakland, the port found $500,000 to underwrite the founding of that charter school. So we're here to say teachers went to jail in Sacramento with students to oppose the budget cuts. Teachers went to jail at Wells Fargo in downtown Oakland last May to demand that Wells Fargo, which got $50 billion in bailout money, step up to support the schools. The longshoremen honored our picket line 4 years ago when teachers were saying, port money for schools, port money for social services. We're here to reciprocate. We know they are under the gun in Longview. We know that the Port of Oakland is supporting the effort to break the union in Longview. We know the Port of Oakland and LA will not bargain with the truck drivers. So as teachers have fought before, we will be out Monday in solidarity, and we urge every working person in the city to understand that the port is not our friend. The port does not serve the 99%.
You know, if you want the official position, go to the website of the ILWU and you can receive. But let me make a follow-up comment about what you're discussing. In my opinion, the Occupy movement has significantly re-energized the labor movement. Only 7% of the private sector belongs to a union. That's the lowest since 1900. Just almost a year ago, we witnessed the meltdown in Madison, Wisconsin, with the attack on the public sector workers. Workers, and unions in particular, are on, well, we're in trouble. And in my opinion, labor should be the one leading this movement. Longshoremen, Teamsters can shut this entire country down. That's the most important industrial sector in this country. But it is not coming from organized labor. It's coming from young people. And I believe that it is important for people to understand that there is a major disconnect between the officialdom of labor and the needs and desires of the working class. And we need to make that quite clear. If we want to be able to change the dialogue and discussion in Washington, D.C., working people have got to use their leverage. And the only leverage we have is the ability to withhold our labor or to engage in sit-ins, civil disobedience. That's what's going on right now. Marches and rallies are helpful, but that does not bring about change.